Hey guys, this is Alan Pennington and Chauncey. There she is. It's been a long day, but it's been a good day. Alan Pennington at www.diveintoabetterlife. And today I want to help you dive into a better life by helping you understand what I think is the biggest single contributor to the destruction of marriages. I know that's a big statement, but I think it's absolutely true. And in a nutshell, it's fighting. And when I say fighting, I don't mean just disagreeing and yelling at each other. What I mean by fighting is me trying to impose my will on you, or you trying to impose your will on me. Now, we can be very nice about it, but it's still fighting. It's, yeah, that's really a stupid idea, honey. You say it very nicely. I'm really right about this because, I've done my homework and clearly you haven't. And let me explain to you why you're wrong. That sounds really nice, but it's still a fight. A fight is me believing that I am right and trying to convince you that I am right. And you believing that you are right, maybe trying to convince me that you are right and convince me that what I think is just dumb or stupid. And once we get to that point, fighting only does one thing. It leads to frustration, and if it leads me to feel good, it's because, well, I won the argument, which means you lost, and so you feel bad, and it destroys the relationship just a little bit more every time it happens. Now, there's a very different approach to cooperatively working through a problem to get to a resolution so that you avoid fighting altogether. What do I mean by that? I'm going to call it perspective taking. If you can be curious about your partner and what they want and why they want that and understand them, you still may not agree with them, and that's okay. But if at least you understand them and you can say, oh, I can understand why you would feel that way. I can understand why that would be important to you. What are some other ways that we might be able to approach this that you would feel better about? Right? I'm not saying that you're right and I'm wrong, and you're not saying that you're right and I'm wrong. If you can be curious about what I think and about what I believe and about what I want, and I can be curious about what you think and about what you believe and about what you want and be kind about it, then we can get along and we can solve problems and it works great. Now let me give you a silly example to start with. Let's say that we had been hired to paint a room in a hospital in the waiting room. And I said, Joe, I'll just call you Joe. Joe, I think it'd be a great idea if we painted that room black. Well, you could either say, yeah, I think that's a great idea too. Let's paint it black. And if we both think it's a good idea to paint it black, well, that could be an unfortunate decision. But let's assume you don't think it's a good idea to paint it black. You might still agree with me. Oh, okay, let's paint it black. Because you just don't want to fight about it. You're tired of fighting. You know that I'm just going to, bear down on you until you give up anyway. So you could just agree with me. Well, that's not healthy on my perspective by just barreling through. And it's not healthy on your perspective by just saying, yeah, okay, whatever. And that's just as destructive to a relationship as fighting, yelling back and forth. But you might also come back and say, Alan, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard about. Why would you want to paint it black? That's just dumb. Well, now you're invalidating my feelings and you're telling me my perspective is stupid. And you may say, we need to paint it some light, bright color that's cheerful. And you may be exactly right. That may be the right answer. But if you say to me, gosh, Alan, that's just the stupidest thing I've ever heard, then it's you trying to impose your will on me and then me trying to impose my will on you. We're fighting, we're not getting along, and that's what destroys relationships. If you said to me, Alan, that's an interesting choice. can you help me understand that? I've got some concerns that may not be well received by everybody. And you said, and you said that to me because I came up with this, I want it to be black. So you said to me, I have some concerns about that. And I said, well, when I was a kid, I had a room with no windows in it, and I could go in and shut the door and turn off the lights, and it was dark, and I loved it, and I could relax, and it was safe, and I just felt so good, and having black walls would be just kind of like that, where it would just be calm and safe. And you could say, okay, I can understand. I can actually get that. I still have some concerns about it being black because I think a lot of people find black depressing. And I might say, really? Why would you say that? So now I'm looking to get your perspective, right? And I'm no longer trying to impose my will on you. You have started out by saying, tell me what you think. Well, a natural response is to say, well, this is what I think and why. Tell me what you think. So now we're trying to be curious to each other, understand each other's perspective, and that's a cooperative discussion that leads to a resolution where you can say, well, maybe we ought to just Google, what's the impact of different colors? Did you know if a restaurant paints their walls red, people are going to eat more food because red stimulates your appetite? I actually just read that in Reader's Digest, so I don't know if it's true, but it said it in Reader's Digest, so let's say it is. So we go out and we Google, and it says, calm, light colors tend to be really good, and this is why. Doesn't matter. The point is, if I'm doing perspective taking and you're doing perspective taking where we're both trying to be curious about the other person's opinion, and we respect the other person enough to say, hey, can you help me understand that? And you say, great, Alan. A waiting room, anybody can do that. That's easy. What about a difficult issue? Two people are married. He comes home from work. She came home from work. She's tired. He wants to have sex because he always wants to have sex. And she's like, can we just not? Right? That would be her being like, I just can't do this. My perspective is I don't want to have sex. We have sex all the time. Sex is fine. Sex is great. But I'm just, and he's like, you just never want to have sex. And then a fight occurs when, he's trying to say, but this is what I want and this is why. And she's saying, but this is what I want and this is why. Where she says, honey, we could spend time together tonight and maybe it could be okay, but I'm just tired and I'm afraid that I wouldn't enjoy it and that, honestly, I might just start resenting that. Could we do something else to enjoy each other tonight and to connect? And then, tomorrow's the weekend. We've got all day off. And I promise, let's get a good night's sleep tonight. And we will spend some time tomorrow. And we will both really enjoy that time. Ooh, that sounds good. So if you're saying, help me understand what your perspective is, help me understand what your concern is, and then trying to look for solutions that meet each other's needs. That's the way to make a relationship work. Fighting, where I'm trying to impose my will on you, you're trying to impose your will on me, I'm trying to convince you why I'm right, and why what you're doing is wrong, or what you're thinking is wrong, or what, your position is wrong. And I might be right, but that's going to destroy our relationship. Perspective taking, where we compassionately ask the other person, I've got some concerns about that. Can you help me understand what you're thinking? And they say, well, this is where I am. Tell me what you're thinking. That's the way to make a relationship work. This is Alan Pennington. Dive into a better life. If you need some help navigating these things, because they can be very difficult and very painful, especially when we get into bad patterns, contact me, my website, www.diveintoabetterlife.com. I hope this is helpful to you. Have a great day. Chauncey says have a good day. And take a little energy every day to work on diving into a better life. Thanks very much.